Now to discuss how the former president moves forward and the impact on his presidential campaign, Rina, the CEO of Relax Strategies and a GOP strategist who has served on 2 Republican congressional staffs. Rina, as always, we'd love to have you on the show. Thank you so much. As with other indictments, the former president spoke after the court hearing, calling this a persecution of a political opponent. How is he benefiting from the media attention and getting his message out there?
Good morning to you all. It's really a moment today that I am having a tough time with. Yesterday was an extraordinary day, and one would think that a great many Republicans would start to show some evidence of backing away from defending former President Donald Trump. A 3rd indictment, charges that were massive, 4 felony counts. I mean, we have to talk about the facts over and over again, because every time Donald Trump takes to his own messaging apparatus, whether it be Truth Social or simply getting in front of a gaggle of reporters before boarding his plane like he did yesterday, he talks in his own set of facts, with his own set of facts, I should add. So in this moment, I am really struck by how Republicans continue to carry the water for him on Capitol Hill. They say that he had every right to protect himself under the First Amendment. They are saying that this is the weaponization of the DOJ at its most extreme, and this is Democrats and President Biden interfering with the 2024 election when Trump is the highest polling candidate in the race. So I am, again, struck by just all the facts here and how Republicans on Capitol Hill continue to be detached from reality.
And when you read through that 45-page indictment, if you didn't know it then, you know it now, and you can see it played out, just how close we were to the brink of our democracy just completely shattering on that day on many fronts. But we know the former president obviously has a strong base of supporters. We had a guest on earlier this week who said that they are more emotionally driven, not necessarily strategic voters, but they are emotional voters because they're drawn to him and they continue to be drawn to him. But at some point, the Republican Party has to think about the independent voters, the moderate voters, and they may be turned off by all of these indictments, as many people would be. So where does their support go? And is there any way for a Republican candidate, let's say, who is not necessarily coming out against the former president to even get their attention right now?
At this very moment, it's unthinkable of how anyone can topple Trump from the top spot in the GOP primary. Just last weekend, former Congressman Will Hurd, who's thrown his hat in the ring for the GOP nomination, was booed in Iowa when he talked about Trump running to avoid jail time. And look, the reality is you're having the most extreme folks turn out right now, whether they be for Trump rallies or GOP local events. You're getting your most ardent supporters of the former president and of just party politics in general showing up and showing out. So how do any of these other people that have declared that they are opponents in the primary to Trump, how do they sort of take up any oxygen when it seems that Trump is sucking up all of it? That remains yet to be seen. But look, we are very, very early out, as it's been said many times over. And I do see the RNC chair, Ronna McDaniel, making a play and getting away from what would be considered vanity politics, vanity candidacies. She's established criteria for making the debate stage. And we know that Trump's lawyers for this 3rd indictment will be back in court here in D.C. on August 28th. Now, whether Trump appears or not, that's yet to be seen. He doesn't have to appear because that is the date on which the trial will be set. So right now, it's a moment of let's hurry up and wait, because one thing is true. Democracy is standing firm. We are thriving here in these United States. Democracy is not dead here. And I think that's a real glimmer of hope for folks. January 6th, 2021 happened, but it didn't take out our democracy, because look at the rule of law. It's being upheld. When a former president can be taken to court, held accountable, charged with crimes, that is a good day for law, democracy, and truth.
All the while, Rina, he does remain the clear frontrunner for the Republican nomination by a wide margin, although there is some new reporting out by the New York Times, some new polling rather, that's showing in the state of Iowa, the first primary or caucus in the nominating contest season for the Republicans. He doesn't have quite the lead as he does in national polling. Is there a way for Ron DeSantis or another candidate to break through in one of those early primary states?
If 2016 taught us anything, it was that we should be cautious about believing the polls, and in particular at this stage, because even reputable outlets that are conducting polls, these are smaller groups, and people don't respond to polls the way they used to. We talk about personality in politics all the time, but it can't be overstated just how many people in the Republican Party felt good about Trump's policies, but didn't like the man himself. So it was almost like pinching their nose and voting for him. Folks who didn't want to vote for him in 2020 did. But then let's not forget there were so many folks who in 2016 voted for the former president, but couldn't click for him again in 2020. And it's that independent voter you talk about, that independently affiliated voter in a swing state that is going to be so important to capture. And my sense is that it's going to be more than who's sort of leading the pack, who's fundraising the best, who's sort of the new person to look at today. I think it's the policies of the Republican Party that make it very hard for any Republican right now, like a Governor DeSantis of Florida, who is really playing into the culture wars, going hard right. I think it's going to be hard for that person to appeal to the general electorate and win the election on election day, November 2024. So they may make it through a GOP primary, but what about beating Joe Biden and the Democrats at the ballot box? That is going to be super hard for any of these candidates right now declared to do.
All right, Rina Shah, CEO of Relax Strategies and GOP strategist. Thank you so much, as always, for joining us. Good to see you.
Thank you.